just don't know. People see me, but they just don't know. Come on, baby, let the good time roll.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is Straight Outta Boston here, aka the King of Boston, and today we're back for episode 8 of the Jonny Legend Road to the Show here. Now, first things first, I do want to talk about the big blockbuster trade that went down yesterday in Major League Baseball. Prince Fielder for Ian Kinsler. I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions on that, but I do have one thing I want to touch on first. I did stream last night on twitch.tv/straightoutofboston. I'll leave that link in the description. There's a new feature on the PlayStation 4 where you can stream right through your console, and I am going to be utilizing that because I can actually get a high quality stream now, which is good. So I'm going to be streaming a lot. So if you guys want to know when I'm streaming, you definitely got to follow me on Twitter. That link is definitely in the description. And I'll try to post videos on YouTube whenever I do decide to stream, but there's no promises in that. So follow me on Twitter, and just go follow me on Twitch too if you have a Twitch account, and check that out. The streams are a lot of fun, and I hope you guys will enjoy them. Sadly, I cannot post them to YouTube afterwards. The Twitch does not save the PS4 broadcast, but that's alright. Just a little thing there. So if you do want to catch the stream, you're going to have to catch it live. But anyway, let's get into that trade. Prince Fielder, along with cash considerations, was sent over to the Texas Rangers for Ian Kinsler straight up. No other players involved in the deal. And this is a win-win trade for both sides. I really like the move for both sides, quite frankly. I think that they're both, I mean, we'll see how it ends up in 5 years or whatever, but I think as of right now, my initial thoughts are, you know, it's a win-win trade. I think both teams got a fair stake. Let's talk about it. So the Tigers, they end up moving Prince Fielder. They get Ian Kinsler. He will replace Omar Infante. He gives them a little bit more athleticism and base running ability. One thing I noticed about the Tigers when they played the Red Sox in the ALCS last year is they're a very slow and unathletic team. And although, you know, Sabermetrics has proven that the running game is overrated and, you know, you don't necessarily have to be the fastest team to be the best team on offense, but I do think that there's a certain aspect to it, and I think that that team did kind of lack just some athleticism on the base paths, especially when Austin Jackson was struggling to get on base. And, you know, I think, what is it, the Tigers took the extra base like 30th out of 30 teams percent of the time or something. Some Saber stat that I follow a couple Tiger fans on Twitter, and they were tweeting out that stat at the same time Omar Vizquel got hired. But anyway, I think that'll help them a little bit just in that alone. But here's where it gets to become a very good deal for the Tigers, I think, is one, they get underneath, or they get out of that albatross 9-year, $212 million contract that they gave Prince Fielder a couple winters ago. That was a bad contract from the start and has proven to be even worse as he has struggled a little bit. He's still a very, very good hitter. He's still an upper tier first baseman in Major League Baseball, but he definitely has not lived up to that contract. So, you know, it's probably a good move to try to get out from under that contract, and they get a very affordable Ian Kinsler at $15.5 million for the next 4 years. That's a very affordable price for a player of his caliber. You know, I think that's a good deal. So that part of it in itself, very good. And then they get to move Miguel Cabrera back to first base, which he's more comfortable at. He, you know, there's injury concern, and kind of he's really slow, and it's hard for a guy like that to play third base. He's much better at first base, and this is going to allow them to move their top prospect back to third base, who was originally a third baseman, had been moved to left field. His name is Nick Castellanos, and he had struggled in left field. He was not a good defensive left fielder, and then now they're able to move him back to third base, so that's going to be big for them. That is a huge deal, actually, so he might be their opening day third baseman next year. I know he was called up in September this year, but I'm not too sure if they intend on starting him immediately at third base next year, or maybe giving it half a summer or something and seeing, you know, what they're like going into July. But nonetheless, we'll see how that goes. So that aspect of it alone, once again, you know, it gives them a spot for Nick Castellanos. And then you look at it this way, they save a lot of money from the Prince Fielder contract. Over, let's see, there's $168 million left on that contract. There's $62 million left on the Kinsler contract. That's $106 million right there. They can use that money to try and re-sign Max Scherzer, who they've been looking for a possible trade partner with, really, for the first part of the offseason. And also Miguel Cabrera's contract is up after 2015. He had an 8-year, $152 million deal that is around, that's a little less than $20 million. He's probably going to get more than that come 2015, so he's going to get a little bit of a raise. Obviously, they have to pay Scherzer, and now they have the money to do that with the Fielder contract out from underneath them. So that's a good deal. That's going to help them out a lot. And I just think overall, great trade for the Detroit Tigers. You know, I'm a Red Sox fan. I'm a little bit scared of the Tigers now. I mean, I was very scared of them coming into last year. After watching them play a little bit, it was like, you know, I think this team's pretty beatable. But man, Kinsler, I just think Kinsler adds a whole different dynamic with kind of his athleticism and his speed, and you know, we'll see how far he can take them. I don't know if it's going to be a significant upgrade, but I think it just adds a different dynamic. And plus, now that they can re-sign Scherzer, him and Verlander are going to be on the team for, you know, a while now. That's going to be a very good 1-2 for years to come. It's just going to be a scary team for a while now. I think that was a great move by the Tigers. But we go to the Rangers side of things, and it's not like they were losers in this deal. I think they get a very good deal out of it too. They get Prince Fielder, a guy who playing in Comerica Park, you know, Comerica's a very big park, and his home run numbers have been down the last couple of years. He moves into that kind of short Arlington field, or that short Texas Rangers field in Arlington, Texas. I think his power number is going to go up. I would expect at least like 35 home runs if he stays healthy next year. I mean, I think he's going to be able to utilize that short porch out and right. And I think the Rangers get kind of a big, especially a left-handed bat, that they've been missing since Josh Hamilton left. And I know Hamilton has not really worked out in his first year in Anaheim, but I think that you add a left-handed bat to that lineup, and that is going to really help out that lineup. I think they lacked that this year. Now, what this also does is free up a spot at second base for the Rangers' top prospect and former top prospect in baseball, Jurickson Profar, who's formerly a shortstop, but with Elvis Andrus there locked up for the next 7 years or something like that, he's going to be there to stay. So Jurickson Profar can move to second base. That will help them out. Hopefully, they can develop him into the superstar that he has the potential to be. And you know, like I said, they're going to have to pay Fielder a little bit more, but they did get some cash from the Tigers to help pay that contract, and I think overall it's a good trade for the Tigers. I like it a little bit more. I mean, it was a good trade for the Rangers. I like it a little bit more on the Tigers end of things, but I can definitely get behind it for both sides, and I think this was a huge trade. Blockbuster MLB trades are the best, especially when you see a big name get traded for a big name like this. You know, everyone has their different thoughts and opinions. You know, baseball is such a strategic sport, and you know, it's just such a cool thing when big trades like this happen. It was really the first big news of the offseason. Now, there were a couple other signings. Tim Hudson signed with the San Francisco Giants for 2 years, $23 million. I'll touch on that briefly since that's pretty much my Prince Fielder thoughts. I thought it was going to take longer, but you know, that's pretty much that. I mean, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like I said, good trade for both sides. Just based off of the circumstances and the situations that both teams are in, I think it was a very good trade for both sides. But nonetheless, so let's get on to the Tim Hudson signing. 2 years, $23 million to the San Francisco Giants. I think it's a very good signing for the Giants. I was not a fan of the Red Sox going after him. He's a 8-year-old pitcher coming off of reconstructive ankle surgery. He had a 3.90 ERA last year. You know, I just didn't like it. You know, the Red Sox already have a lot of guys that can be 4 or 5 starters and eat up innings and give you 4 to 4.2 ERAs or something. You know, the Jake Peavies of the world and the Ryan Dempsters, and you know, we already have enough of those guys. I say we, I apologize, but the Red Sox already have enough of those guys. But you know, the Giants could use one of those guys. They have Madison Bumgarner and Matt Cain at the top. They re-signed Tim Lincecum. Tim Hudson, you know, if he settles into the 3 or 4 spot, I think that's pretty good for. You know, I think he could work pretty well as a 3 or a 4. I mean, you know, we'll see how he comes back off that ankle. But 2 years, $23 million is very affordable. You know, that's pretty much what you're going to have to pay to get a 3 or 4 starter in Major League Baseball these days. To get kind of an average to above average level starting pitcher, you're going to have to pay $10, $11, $12, $13 million per year. And, you know, I think that's going to be a fair value for a contract. And, you know, I like Tim Hudson, former Oakland A. Yeah, I was kind of a fan from afar of the A's in the early 2000s. I just liked Zito, Mulder, and Hudson. I would try to watch them whenever they're on ESPN. And I just really enjoyed watching those guys pitch. And, you know, it's cool seeing Tim Hudson still around in baseball. But nonetheless, there's that. And then there's also the Carlos Ruiz 3-year, $26 million contract with the Philadelphia Phillies. Man, I don't know what the Phillies are doing. Marlon Byrd, Carlos Ruiz, what do they have? Like 5 of their top 8 paid players or something are over 34 years old. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's an old team that's going to break down. And I don't know. Ruben Amaro Jr. confuses me as a GM, quite frankly. I don't know what he's going to do. But it looks like they're not rebuilding, which means they're probably not going to trade Cliff Lee, which is what I was kind of hoping they would try to do with the Red Sox. But it looks like that's kind of a pipe dream at this point. But nonetheless, you know, I don't really get the Carlos Ruiz signing. I really don't get giving him 3 years, too. You know, he already started to wear down a little bit last year. His OPS was under 700. And I just think that's probably going to continue, quite frankly. I mean, I was looking for the Red Sox to possibly get him for 2 years and maybe $18 million. But, you know, obviously that's out of the... I would not pay him 3 years, $26 million. I'd rather pay Salty Lamanque that money just based off of age and potential, so to say. I mean, Salty has the potential to go up still. Ruiz is, you know, in the twilight of his career at this point. And, you know, this might be his last MLB contract, quite frankly. So, you know, we'll see. But, Ruiz is a solid catcher, and he'll help out Philadelphia, but I don't know. I just don't understand it, quite frankly, trying to go after those type of players, and I don't know. I feel like they could have done better, but nonetheless, that's pretty much going to do it. So we get our first MLB win. I didn't talk about the gameplay at all of this episode, but we made our first MLB start. This is not our first MLB win, but we made our first MLB start, our starting debut in this game right here. And we ended up going the complete game, 9 innings, 8 hits. And that's pretty much that. So that's pretty much going to do it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you did enjoy. And so I'm out. Peace.